welcome to a new episode of your program Cairo Watch, in which we bring you the latest developments that is happening here in Egypt in every corner of our pulse of Cairo, more initiatives by our government, the social life and culture. Stay with us, and today is a very special day as we're celebrating the 34th anniversary of the 23rd July Revolution. It's a significant occasion to reflect on one of the most transformative events in Egypt's modern history. The revolution of 23rd of July 1952 marked a turning point that reshaped the nation's political, social and economic landscape. As Egypt commemorates this historic milestone, today's episode of Cairo Watch will focus on the revolution role in encouraging present and future generations to appreciate the importance of unity. Now we kick off with our episode, but after a short break. Welcome back. The President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi addressed the nation on the 23rd of July Revolution's 74th anniversary. In his address, President al-Sisi delivered a message of peace amid the region's painful and harsh circumstances. The President called on countries around the world to make every effort to end wars and conflicts, particularly in the Middle East, stressing a just peace can ensure stability and prosperity for all peoples. He urged countries to confront destructive tendencies amid perpetuating hatred, bloodshed and destruction. The President also reaffirmed Egypt's long-standing rejection of any aggression against fellow Arab states, calling on all concerned parties to refrain from the use of force, exercise self-restraint, de-escalate tensions and return to the negotiating table in the interest of peace and the rights of people. And to shed more light on this topic, I'm so delighted to be accompanied right now on the phone by Dr. Mohamed Ezaby, the international relations expert. How are you, sir?
How are you, Siro? And congratulations by the 23rd revolution of July. Congratulations for all the Egyptian people. Congratulations for His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the great Egyptian army.
Well, Dr. Mohamed, what is the intake on the revolution's influence also in reaching the goal of unity and the celebration of the 74th anniversary, since His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi also addressed lots of statements, including the security, the peace, the restraint, and to go back to the negotiating table when it comes to conflicts?
The speech of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi today and the anniversary of 23rd July 1952, the revolution, it gives many points. He talks a lot about in many points. First, he linked between the revolution on 23rd of July and the revolution of 3rd of June 2013. He said that the revolution of 23rd July make a new shape for Egypt, and also the revolution of 3rd of June make a new shape for Egypt. He really make a link between these two revolutions in the history of Egypt. Also, he reaffirmed that Egypt tried to go through a lot of struggles. He called about peace. He called the great countries like United States, France, Russia, China to take their responsibilities to stop the struggles in the area, especially Iran and United States. Also, what's happening in Sudan, what's happening in Eritrea and Somalia, many problems about all over the world, and Egypt always say that we don't need to have struggles. We can solve any problems about the negotiations and by political way. So President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi today reaffirmed that Egypt didn't, as a country of peace, try to solve and mediate to solve all the struggles around the world. Also, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi thanked the Egyptian people who they stand and with their leader and their army, especially that Egypt, in a struggle, we didn't have only Egyptian army, but we have 100 million soldiers in Egyptian army. The revolution of 23rd of July succeeded because all the Egyptian people stand with the Egyptian army in this revolution. Also, the opposite, in 30 of June 2013, the Egyptian army stand with the Egyptian people in this revolution. So the relation between the army and the people in Egypt, we don't know who is a soldiers and who is civilian. All the Egyptian people at the rest time, all are soldiers to serve Egypt.
Well, Dr. Mohamed, of course, this is very clear when it comes to the unity, solidarity, and the integrity of all the Egyptian. And of course, we have a great government ahead, and of course, standing next to us when it comes to our armed forces, the brotherhood of the armed forces. This is how we learn the unity and solidarity. Of course, those lessons, how can this contribute to give the lessons and the patriotism play in the upcoming generation?
Well, we saw what is happening in the educational system now. They try to give the children how is the unity between Egyptian people and Egyptian army. How can we educate our kids about this unity? How can we teach them how to stand with Egypt in any critical time? So the education have a role. The media have a role, and many ministers have a role to put these motivations in the next generations. Especially, we saw the success of the Egyptian army in many fields. The last field is defeat terrorism in Sinai and all over the Egyptian country. How they sacrifice their souls and blood to save the unity of Egypt and to save the Egyptian people. All these lessons must be educated and taught to the Egyptian kids from the beginning of their years of education. Also, as I said, as the media must make a lot of programs. How can the Egyptian army saves the unity of Egypt, how the Egyptian army restore our land from Israel, how the Egyptian army sacrificed their souls and blood to save Egyptian people. All these media and education have a great role to do this.
Well, Dr. Mohamed, of course, there's a great role when it comes to citizens, when it comes to the armed forces, and of course when it comes to the government. They all are entwining together actually to get indulged more in the fabric of this nation. As you said, there's a lot to be learned when it comes to the next generation, the inspiration, the dreams, the solidarity, the unity, the integrity, and of course how you can stand next to your countries and build it together. So what is the main lessons for our generations also to give them this keenness about the national institutions and contributing to that, and also indulging with lots of the roadmap of Egypt when it comes to the 2030 agenda or the 2063?
Well, Egypt always try to work. Egypt is as a country of peace. Egypt as a mediator country. Egypt as a gate for any decision for the Middle East. Egypt is the greatest country and the bridge between Africa, Asia, Europe, United States, China. Nothing can happen in the area without passing by Egypt. We must know that Egyptian people, when they want something, no one, no country can stand in front the ability of the Egyptian people and the ability of the Egyptian army. All these lessons, all the generations must know this, must know that no one in the world, no army in the world can defeat the Egyptian people who stand with the Egyptian army.
Well, for sure, I'm totally agreeing with you, Dr. Mohammed, because this is Egypt, this is the Egyptian people, this is the armed forces, this is our government. That's all, again, entwining and scaling that. We are just giving not just a lesson when it comes to the solidarity, we're just giving a celebration with lots also with ideas and stories and lots to be said and told to our generations.
In 23rd of July, all the kids must know that Gamal Abdel Nasser and his campaigns, when they made this revolution against the rule of the king, also against what is happening, especially after the war of 48, they can, if this revolution didn't succeed, all these people will be slaughtered. So always the main principle in the Egyptian soldiers and the Egyptian officers that they didn't care about their souls, didn't care about their plots, only care about one thing, Egypt and the Egyptian people. This lesson, how can the people support the Egyptian army to give a push to this revolution to succeed? How can they face what is happening, what was happened before this revolution? How can they try to give justice to all the Egyptian people? How can give freedom for all the Egyptian people? So the main principle for Egyptian army, not to care about soul, not to care about blood, but only care about Egypt and Egyptian people.
Well, this is also what we export when it comes to different international communities, that Egypt stands for its citizens, Egypt stands for its armed forces, and when it comes to the combination between the nation and the armed forces, of course, there's no difference who is going to do what when it comes to the integrity of this country. Of course, we've seen that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi also, not a single time that he was addressing some statements, whether in international arenas or here in Cairo, except he's always giving a message of hope, of peace, of security, of territorial integrity, of solidarity, of unity, and of course always a message for the young generation, this connectivity when it comes to the state and the nation, how this can also reshape more of contributing when it comes to the fabric of the nation.
Fattah al-Sisi in his speech not only talk about the 23rd July revolution, but also talk about what is happening now, how Egypt start to build Egypt again, new republic, new projects, new great mega projects. How can Egypt move from what is happening in the year of the rule of brotherhood, terrorism, brotherhood, and now how is the shape of Egypt? How all the world respect Egypt. That is not only because of the government, but also because of the Egyptian people who support His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who support our government, who support the Egyptian army, who support the new political project. That's why Egypt start to move from 0 point in the year of terrorist brotherhood rule to now how all the world respect Egypt, how all the world respect the word of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and always he considers Egypt as a country of peace. He tried to put a new shape for the Egyptian policy, for the political relation. He gave a great attention to the relation between Egypt and Africa. Also, what is happening, how can all the international organization respect Egypt? We saw how is the United Nations, what they say in front of Rafah border about the effort of Egypt to solve the crisis of Gaza. Also, Donald Trump, when he thanked Egypt about their efforts to solve the struggle with Iran. Shahbaz Sharif, who thanks His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi for his rule to stop the war between India and Pakistan. So Egypt now is the greatest player in the world. That has happened because the ability of the Egyptian people and their support to His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the new political way of Egypt.
Well, Dr. Mohamed, of course, we're speaking about, as you said, lots of expansion and expanding more in Africa and the international arena when it comes to our foreign policy. We've seen lots of progress. We've seen lots of calls, summits, conferences. And up till this week, like the last 10 days, we've seen dozens of calls and visits and, of course, official visits, which pave the way for more cooperation between different countries when it comes to trade, when it comes to investment, when it comes to economy, and when it comes to security also. So as we speaking about Africa, we're exporting also the consultation when it comes to the security and the integrity of our brotherly countries there. We're speaking about paving the way for more flourishing future. We are speaking about going parallel with our vision and with our infrastructure, with our mega projects. As you said, those last 10 years, we've witnessed a lot actually.
Yes, we saw, I was with you and we talked about the visit of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Tanzania. And we talk about the relation between Egypt and Mozambique. Also, we must talk about the mega project Cairo-Cape Town Railway, which relate Egypt with Cape Town in South Africa. How can Egypt make a great project in Uganda? How all the African continent needs the experience of Egypt in infrastructure projects, in educational projects, in healthcare projects. So because of the relations, the great relations which made by His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with African countries, now Egypt have a great share in the African economy and give a great support for African countries, and this will give facilities to Egypt to raise our economy also.
Well, speaking about the economy, speaking about investment, and of course the attraction of foreign investment happening here in Egypt, not just because of the security environment, not just because of the vision of the infrastructure, of the mega projects, but it's all going parallel. So, and also we're speaking in all the arenas about about Gaza, about Palestine, of course, and what's happening there. We're speaking about the second phase of negotiation. We're speaking about education here in Egypt. We're speaking about more of 80% of different nationalities studying here in Egypt. So we're just opening the doors to all the sectors, let's say.
Well, Egypt now, His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Dr. Badr Abdel Ati, with other mediators like Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, Turkey, we try to put an end for the struggle of Iran, especially that Iran gave an order to Houthi to close Bab al-Mandab, and it will be a great crisis for international economy. So Egypt, because we are the greatest country in the area, we try to put an end for the struggle as soon as possible, because if the struggle continue for 1 or 2 months, it will affect not only Egyptian economy, but will also affect the international economy. So Egypt know how to treat with the dangers, how to treat with all the struggles, especially that in the age of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, Egypt have a balanced relation with all world powers like China, Russia, United States, also have a relation with Iran, with Gulf countries. So by this balanced relation, Egypt can play a great role to solve a lot of mediations, and that's because of the success of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Egyptian policy to play a role in struggle in the world.
Well, we should hail that, because this is a respect from the whole world when it comes to Egypt. This is a reflection of what our government is working on when it comes to different sectors, flourishing in tourism, flourishing in infrastructure, mega projects. Lots of people speaking now, not just about Egypt, when it comes to how did change in the last 5 and 10 years from roads, from connecting. Even we spoke about connecting Egypt to Cape Town. Now we're speaking about connecting Egypt to Egypt in different roads, make it more facilitation for even visitors to be there. We're speaking about our community. We're speaking about the refugees here, where His Excellency also spoke about them. We're speaking about different sectors, and we have to mention that also His Excellency Mr. Badr Abdel and his foreign policy is flourishing more than ever. We're speaking about Montenegro. We're speaking about different countries that, yes, we do have bilateral relations with, but it wasn't that maybe seen or lots of visits as now. So now we are witnessing an era or a reign of more flourishing in different sectors. We are watching Egypt growing, and it will be the best country in the world.
Yes, of course, you said many things true. If we look at the new projects which made in Egypt, we saw the development in railway. We saw how many kilometers of routes, new routes made, and facilitate the transition for people from place to place. How many hospitals, new hospitals, how is the development in the governmental hospitals, how is the development in the educational projects. Many things changed in Egypt in the last year. Also, if we talk about the relations, Egypt didn't have only a relation with African countries, with European countries, but it started to make a new strategical relations with many other countries. As you said, like Montenegro, we saw about Mozambique, Tanzania, Eritrea, and how Egypt tried to solve the problem between Eritrea and the United States, especially after the meeting with Mossad Boulos, and made a meeting between Mossad Boulos and Osman Saleh. So Egypt tried to move in many ways, not only for internal, but also outside Egypt. Egypt has the responsibility for all African countries, have the responsibility for Gulf countries, have the responsibility of the Palestinian issue. So Egypt, by our relation with all the world powers, we try to save all these problems because of the wisdom of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi.
Well, we are so honored and proud that we have such presidency. Well, Dr. Mohamed Ezaby, the international relations expert, I would like to thank you so much for your informative call. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, a short break, and we'll be back.